Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be filming the All About My Eyeshadow Palettes tag. This is going to be a part 2 to a tag that was originally created back in 2020. I believe I filmed part 1 in May or June of 2020, but today we are going to be filming part 2. We have a brand new set of questions. I believe that these All About My Eyeshadow Palette tags were originally created by Samantha March here on YouTube. I've also seen Allie Glines do this, Juicy Jazz do it, and I figured it was time to hop on the bandwagon, so we are going to be talking all about eyeshadow palettes. So I hope you guys enjoy, and if you want to see my answers to this tag, make sure to keep on watching. So the first question in this tag is your all-time favorite palette. This was easy peasy for me. My all-time favorite palette is the Colourpop Nude Mood palette. This is my everyday go-to palette. If you took all of my other eyeshadow palettes away from me and left me with this one, I would be so happy. I just absolutely love this palette. You will see mine is super duper messy because I just use this so often, but it is truly my perfect eyeshadow palette. If I had to go ahead and create my own palette, it would probably look a lot like this because I just love these neutral, kind of warm, a great mixture of matte shimmers and glitters. And they also pressed their Super Shock formula in here, which is one of my favorite formulas of eyeshadows. This is my favorite. I've talked about this a ton before on my channel. I've mentioned that this is like 100% going to be my wedding day palette. It is just my perfect all-time favorite palette, and I believe these retail for about like $12 or $14. These little Colourpop 9-pan palettes, so definitely worth it for the money. Next up in this tag is a palette that is your new favorite, and I would have to say the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette is my new favorite. This is something that is newer to my collection. I believe I got this in December of 2020 for Christmas, but you guys know I've really been slowing down purchasing. I think I only got one new palette in 2021 or 2 new palettes in 2021. This is really great for day to day if you want to throw on like a 1 shade or 2 shade kind of eyeshadow look. Easy breezy matte brown kind of smoky eye. This is the palette that I've been going for when I don't have a lot of time to do my makeup, which is more often than not. And I also love the formula of these because they're not overly pigmented. Here are a couple of the shades swatched on my finger. They're definitely buttery. They blend really nicely. They do not have any fallout at all. They are not overly pigmented, maybe compared to something like an Anastasia palette, which I always say. I don't think that those are too beginner friendly, but this Makeup by Mario palette has the perfect formula, the perfect consistency where it's buttery enough to work with and give you a nice pigmentation. This is definitely a new favorite. I'm not exactly sure how much this retails for. I want to say probably somewhere within the $30 to $35 range, but I will definitely have this linked down below if you guys want to check it out. And I love the magnetic packaging is really nice on this too. Keep it for the memories is the next prompt in this tag. For me, that is definitely the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This palette just brings me back to peak 2015, 2016 makeup era when makeup was the best thing on the whole planet and people were really buying a ton of makeup and growing their collections. This Modern Renaissance palette just automatically throws me back to that time frame, and I feel like this was the last makeup launch that I was like truly and completely so excited for. I don't know, I feel like makeup since then has just changed. It's very oversaturated. There's so many options, which is great, but I don't find myself kind of like getting as excited for makeup releases like I was as excited for this. And I just remember using this every single day. I would automatically gravitate towards this. I know I use this a lot on YouTube, but I also use this just off camera for so many things and events when I first got this. So it just holds a lot of memories. I definitely can't tell you guys the last time that I honestly picked this up or used it, and I don't know if I necessarily would use it because of its age, but again, just something that I keep for the memories, and I don't think that I could ever get myself to get rid of this. A palette that I think is underrated, I am gonna kind of cheat a little bit and show you guys 2 separate palettes. These 2 palettes came to mind immediately for underrated, and that is the Milani Bold Obsessions as well as the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2. These are some of my favorites. These palettes live in that holder on top of my vanity at all times because I love having quick access to them, but I feel like not a lot of people talk about these. This here is the Milani Bold Obsessions. I never hear a lot of people talking about Milani eyeshadow formula in general. I feel like they are really good, and for the price, I think this palette is like $10 or $12 from the drugstore. I just get holiday vibes from this palette. I think it is super fun for the holidays, kind of like New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I don't know why I've always seen this palette like that. I know it's a little bit strange, but just a lot of fun and festive yet wearable colors. So definitely a brand of eyeshadows that I want to dig a little bit more into, but I feel like this is very underrated, along with the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. Another perfect neutral warm palette for me. The formula on the Sigma shadows are also amazing. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Makeup by Mario palette, where they don't have too much fallout, but yet they're still buttery and they blend so nicely. It's just really quick and easy to create an everyday look with this, or you can kind of add some of these deeper greenish olive colors and vamp it up a little bit. I definitely think Sigma is very well known for their brushes and tools, but their actual makeup products I feel like a lot of people don't dabble too much into, and the few that I have tried are so great. Definitely want to try out more, but this palette specifically is very underrated. I feel like a lot of people would love this palette with the mixture of colors and stuff like that. Definitely something to look for and grab if you are interested in getting a new palette. Next up, the next question is not a favorite but can't get rid of. Again, I have two to show you, but they're from the same brand and they're the same type of palette, just different versions. So the two that are not my favorite but I can't seem to get rid of them are these two palettes from e.l.f. I have both their Opposites Attract palette and then also their Retro Paradise palette. I don't know why I can't get rid of these. I think it's just because I love the brand e.l.f. so much. I really want to believe that I like these palettes and I keep going back to them. I keep trying them. They just 100% don't work out for me. I think I do have a full dedicated review and try on of the Retro Paradise palette, and there were some hits in here, but there were a lot of misses in this palette too. But I just think it's so pretty. I feel like one day I'm going to want a green like this or a lavender, which I don't really have in my collection. So I just keep holding on to it, even though the formula of these colorful shades, which is why I'm holding on to the palette, they're just not that good. Overall, it's just not good enough to keep, I guess you could say. I was able to successfully make pretty looks with these, but it took a lot of playing around and blending and building to get there. And then same with the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette. I always have trouble creating a complete look with this palette. They're not the best eyeshadow formula either, kind of similar to the Retro Paradise palette. It's very hit or miss depending on the shades that you're dipping into here, but there's just nothing about either of these sides that gives me what I need to create a full look. So I always try, I always fail with this. And then again, the Retro Paradise, I'll give you guys a close-up because I think I forgot. It's just too hit or miss for me to continue using this, but I love e.l.f. so much and I just don't want to get rid of them. I just really like having these in my collection for some reasons. My favorite collab is easily the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette. I feel like this is the most iconic eyeshadow collab for so many reasons. First of all, the formula is absolutely amazing. The colors are amazing. The packaging is amazing. And I just love the versatility of these shadows. I think my favorite part about this is just how timeless and classic this palette is. I think when we think a lot about collabs, whether it's with a celebrity or an influencer, I feel like all of those palettes kind of get a little bit themed. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like they'll base a palette off of their dog or their life or their favorite colors, and I feel like it's not a timeless and classic palette that you can keep in your collection forever and it'll never go out of style. I feel like this is the most just like classy, timeless collab, and it almost doesn't even look like a collaboration either. It's just a very simple, beautiful packaging. It fits right into the rest of the Anastasia eyeshadow palette line beautifully. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I'm wearing a mixture of this shade, this shade, this shade, and then the bronze on my lid. It was just a no-brainer for me, this one, for favorite collaboration collaboration. Next we have a 2021 favorite, and I picked out for this the Colourpop Pressed Powder Palette in the shade Creamsicle. I purchased one on a whim just to test it out, and I used this almost non-stop in 2021, and this little quad just served me so well last year. I used this a ton in the spring, summer, even leading on into the fall. Sometimes when I didn't have time to do a full makeup, I would just take one of these shimmery shades all over the lid. I love the warm corally shades too. These sparkly shades and shimmers are so good in here. I reached for this almost on a daily basis in 2021, and I think it's because it was small, convenient. I was able to take it with me, throw it in my bag, but you also don't have a lot of options. There's not much that you could do with this, and I really like it because it was more direct and just quick and easy to do my eyeshadow. So this was definitely my favorite in 2021. Something that I did not expect to love were the e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palettes. I ordered these on a whim, and I honestly did not think they were going to be good. Because they're only $3 each, which to me a lot of the time I associate quality with the price that you pay, and also based off of the other e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes that I tried in the past. Let's just say that I had really low hopes for these, and these absolutely blew me away. These have become some of my favorite eyeshadows, probably top 3 for me, and the formula on these is just so amazing. So I will share with you guys my top 4 favorite of the e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palettes. So these are the shimmer shades in the cream and sugar palette. It also has this extremely pigmented dark chocolatey brown. It just blows my mind every single day that these are only $3. This is the shade Truffles, another one of my favorites. It's a nice deep cool tone palette. I also have Berry Bad, which speaks for itself, just some gorgeous berry shades. This shimmer shade in here is one of my favorite shades when I want to go for more of like a berry tone. I love using this palette. If you are a warm eyeshadow lover like me, you absolutely need the Pumpkin Pie bite-size eyeshadow palette. Here is what that one looks like, just an awesome warm brown. Again, some beautiful shimmer shades. I think I tried Blue Acai. That one is not my favorite at all. That one actually has a pretty bad formula, but if you stick to the neutrals, specifically the 4 color combos that I just mentioned, you will love these. Now I'm going to share with you a palette that sparks joy, and honestly it took me a while to kind of settle on one palette just because I love all of my eyeshadow palettes. They all kind of spark joy for me, especially older ones, but this particular palette stood out to me. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. I know I'm mentioning ABH a lot in this video. This palette in particular just sparked joy for me because I remember going through a phase in college. I think I was in my sophomore year of college, maybe year 2018. I might even have some pictures to go along with this as well to throw up on the screen, but I just remember always getting up extra early to do my eyeshadow once I got this palette because I loved playing around with the different color combinations in here. I was so obsessed with this shade down here called Dimension. It's like a denim blue lilac-y shifty shade. I would use this on my lid every single day, but I loved playing around with the different colors, the green, the orange, the yellow, this dusty lilac. This definitely has some nice joyful memories associated with it, but as I said, it was hard to narrow down this specific prompt because I feel joy from a lot of my eyeshadow palettes in my collection, which is why it's going to be very hard to part with them when it's time to do my declutter. So next up is newest to my collection. I believe the palette that is newest to my collection, I could be wrong, but I thought hard about this and I'm 99.9% sure that it is the Colourpop and Powerpuff Girls collaboration. I got this for my birthday in August, and I really don't think that I've purchased any other palettes besides this since then. So this is the Powerpuff Girls and Colourpop collaboration. Let me do a close-up of this packaging for you guys. It's super cute. It has all the Powerpuff Girls on it. And this is a fun palette too. Again, this was gifted to me for my birthday. But you guys know I love Colourpop palettes. I have a nice handful now of their 12-pan palettes, and it has lots of fun shimmery shades in here, a nice handful of some colorful shades too. Very fun to play around with. I haven't picked it up in a bit because I find it's more suitable for me for the spring and summer months, so maybe we'll start pulling this back out in a few months. But a lot of these shimmers are really beautiful, like this one here called Frenemy. It's like a creamsicle kind of shimmer. It's very pretty, and I don't know if the true true color of this is picking up on camera, but the 4 shades at the bottom here are extremely neon, and some of the brightest, most neon shades that I actually have in my collection. The very last prompt in this tag is the first palette that you used in 2022. And you guys, I cannot remember for the life of me. I want to say it was probably an e.l.f. bite-sized, Makeup by Mario, Jackie Aina, one of my current favorite palettes, but I am not able to completely pinpoint the first palette that I used in 2022. I know I filmed a video on New Year's Eve, and I think I used the Jackie Aina palette on December 31st. The next photo that I have with me of makeup on is on January 8th. I was going to like a little holiday gathering, and I know I used the Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette only because I was wearing an emerald green shirt, and I know when I wear emerald green, I like to pair it with this shade right here called Sponsored. So I know on January 8th, I was wearing the Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette, but I don't have any records from the 1st to the 8th of any other palettes that I use. So it might have been the Jackie Aina if I didn't wear makeup for the first week of 2022. All right, you guys, so that is going to complete this video. That is part 2 to the all about my eyeshadow palettes tag. This was really fun to film. I love kind of going old school every once in a while and doing a tag video here on my channel. If there are any other tags out there, definitely send them my way if you guys want to see me do some more of these and answer some makeup related questions. I will have all the questions to this tag listed down below, and I will also go ahead and link the Samantha March video as well as the Allie Glines video and the Juicy Jazz video that I saw that kind of prompted me to complete this tag. That is everything that is going to complete this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and spending time with me today. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.